Okay, today's going to be a quick video. I'm going to give you 3 tips for buying camera gear, so let's get to it. Now, for tip number 1 is going to be to consider your use case. Now, it would be great if you could afford a 1DX Mark II or a Nikon D5, but realistically, A, most people probably can't afford it, and B, most people probably won't be able to get the use out of it that you would expect to. So, let's say you're shooting landscape photography, you might want to consider a body that's full frame to get as much detail out of the scene. Or you're going to want one with good low light shooting for like sunsets, let's say. So, and let's also move on to lenses. What would you want for certain use cases? For motorsport photography, you'd want a large telephoto lens because usually you're quite far away from your subject. Whereas for landscapes and that, you tend to see wide-angle lenses. But the main thing when it comes to gear and that, you'll have to decide what use case you need. I chose to get a 7D for mostly motorsport photography because it has a high frame rate, it has good autofocus, which is all important things for motorsport photography. But for someone maybe wanting to do portrait something, a different camera, maybe a 5D Mark II or something similar, might be a better option. Now, moving on to kind of use case for lenses, that's another thing. Do you want something with a wide aperture so you can get good low light shots, or do you need something with image stabilization so you can use low shutter speeds? That's all something you're going to have to ask yourself when it comes to camera gear. Now, tip number 2 is, are you going to buy new or used? Now, I buy a lot of my gear used because it's cheaper, and usually if the gear's well looked after, you can save a fair bit of money and you still get really good image quality. But you may want the peace of mind of buying new, so you know it's new to you, it's going to be fully functional, and you're going to have a solid warranty in that if it goes wrong. But you may think to yourself, the prices for new gear it's too much. For example, a new 70 to 200 is about shy of about £2,000, whereas you can knock about £500 off if you buy it used. You're still getting an incredibly capable lens, but you're getting it 500 quid cheaper, which you could choose to spend on maybe another lens or just save it. Now, tip number 3 is going to be consider if it's going to be a justified purchase. Let's say you're buying a fisheye lens and that. They're great stuff, but really they're only used in a certain few applications. You wouldn't use it for portraits, it wouldn't work, and a lot of other things it wouldn't work. It would only work for very specific use cases. So could you justify buying, let's say, £1,000 lens if you're only going to use it for a couple of things? Now, I recently bought a 24 to 105 lens. I brought this because it's a pretty much a standard lens in that. It's quite a decent zoom range for general photos. For example, I'd use it quite a bit for going around the paddock at motorsport events because 24mm is quite wide, as you can see here, and 105 is quite a good telephoto distance. But ultimately that's going to come down to what kind of photographs you want to take, that if you can justify a fisheye lens, or if you're more justified by, like, let's say, a long telephoto lens. Okay, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful in things to consider when buying camera gear. Like the video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, make sure you're subscribed because I release videos, a couple videos a week really, so I'll see you around. Bye.